DevOps admin David from Trivial Solutions here. Today I'm a Slash developer because today I will talk about my opinions on what is a great developer, right? And of course these are my opinions, this is not like scientific, I don't have white papers. And you could say my channel is one big opinion and I wouldn't argue with you on that for a second, right? So what I accumulated over the years and what I think is the most important of people, like that small percentage, what would make them great. So I have a distilled list here and we can talk about that. So the first thing I see trait, strong opinions, right? Because there's this today like cloud. Everyone wants to be political, do not offend anyone, everything that you're using is fine, you can't really tell other person is wrong, they might get upset. I don't understand if you have a lots of experience and if you code a lot of languages, if you know a lot of languages, right? If you know a lot of technology, you will have your favorite languages and you will see flaws in other languages. And the same goes with databases, queues, infrastructure, components like build system, everything. If you have a big baggage in your mind of technology that you tried and tested, you certainly have a taste what it's like. And if you get across a better technology, oh, this is even better. Happened to me quite a lot. And, I don't understand how once you test a lot of technology, a lot of components, how can you not have strong opinions? So for instance, what happened to me when I discovered ZFS versus other file systems, I'm like, what was I doing with my life? ZFS is just so much better than everything out there. It performs great, snapshots, everything. I made an entire video about ZFS. But anyway, and I have a lot of components like that where I tried a lot of stuff. I burned on some and some I really like. So I have really strong opinions on what to use, and you probably will have too about everything if you have a lot of experience. The only way I think you can't really have much opinion is you don't know much technology, right? So imagine if you're doing only Java for 20 years in a bank, what opinions exactly can you have, right? You just one thing and then okay, yeah, don't offend anybody because I don't know much really. So I think it's very important. You will probably have, I believe, strong opinions the more you go knowledge spectrum, right? If you would. So another thing I like is confidence, not afraid, right? So I think you should have a good sense of when to be bold, when to try something, right? Because a lot of people, they get into this comfort zone, status quo. And, there are a lot of valid reasons. So, for instance, Postgres is my comfort zone. I just deploy it and I don't use, I avoid everything else because it's going to be probably a lot of bugs. But, sometimes you just need to, you don't really have a choice, but you need to go with your gut, or people point out obvious errors to you that what you're doing is is subpar right now, and you might need to then you have a reason to do something else, right? Because you see that this is clearly not working and I need to try this, and this happened to me with ZFS, and I was architecting an entire infrastructure for one company and I didn't know ZFS before, right? And I saw this oh, wow, it would be really great if you had corruption resistance, if we need to restore data sets fast, everything. And I didn't know about data sets, but I knew what I wanted to see. And then I just read the book about ZFS after researching. And once I read it, I'm like, wow, this is exactly what I need. And I just, check the maturity of it. Is it stable on Linux? It's first class citizen and FreeBSD. And I studied it. And yeah, it seems stable. And I went really bold on our production setup. Use ZFS when I didn't run it in production before, right? And it was risk, but it paid off great. It's It's running to this day, no problem. It performs great, and you have snapshots, backups, rollbacks, everything I want from a file system. And that took guts, but it worked out really great. But it wasn't like willy-nilly. I wasn't throwing a dice, but you research something very well and you go with your gut, right? So that's another thing. Sometimes you need to be really bold in what you do. And the third thing is you should be able to do anything, right? And like one time in my career, like someone was complaining on Slack, hey, I can't access this database record. Could someone help me out, right? And I'm like, well, you could query it in a database, a SQL. I cannot believe the stupidest, craziest answer that I got from that back. Nobody made us teachings about SQL. I don't know how to do that. I will not do that. I don't know how to do that. I will not do it. Like, I cannot understand. I cannot understand. Like, most of the time when I go into the tasks and, new technology comes out, like, I don't change technology often, but there are sometimes a lot of unknowns. And nobody's asking me, right? Hey, did you do this before? I just do it. Just, you have a brain, you read the documentation, you figure it out, right? And then you make decisions and then you implement it. And I'm like so used to this mindset that, you're just given something to do and you just perform it. And for me, hearing that, oh, we don't have SQL teachings, I cannot do that. I was blown away by that. I'm like, what did you just say? So that was hilarious. So certainly the person who said this is certainly not a great developer, right? Don't do that, If someone gives you something to do and you don't know how to do it, it's okay to ask questions, but even better is if you research it and you just do it and what looks from the side that you just knew it all along. And there are a ton of times like when someone asks me to do something and I implement it. And people think like, oh, wow, you already knew how to do this. No, I didn't know that, but I just, went to documentation, read up relevant stuff, and, did it. So it's super simple. Don't be that guy that I don't have teachings, I don't know how to do it. Do anything. You can do it. You need confidence to get into this mindset, but if you can be here, then you're much more valuable than average developer, okay? So, and another thing is code after work, and Jonathan Blow says the same thing. Well, he says like you need to work like 60 hours a week or something. And, I agree, because I don't understand how like a lot of people just get into this mindset. And, it's okay if you have this, if you view like software development and IT as just a job. I get my salary and then I go home, I save up some money, I travel around the world. Yeah, that's okay. But I'm just saying, if someone goes after work on things that they love, solving the problems that you didn't solve, they're probably going to know a lot more than you, won't they? If you don't have to force to do that, then, they're just gonna leave the rest people behind who just treat it as a job. I'm not saying it's wrong to treat your work as a job, treat work as a job, but, if you do extra mile from your own free will, if no one's forcing you and you have this passion, you're just gonna fly so far away from everyone else that it's just a fact of life. You either have desire for this or you don't. And that's just the way it is, right? So, yeah, so that's another thing I think accompanies great developers. And fifth point, you must be hands-on. And I see this like, so say this is a spectrum of your knowledge as a software developer. And this is like, you're like Nikola Tesla here, you're top percent. And here you're like a junior developer, right? And a lot of people just, they walk like a little mile, they have some knowledge, and then they pick their career track. They're like called the tech leads. I'm a tech lead. I just now visit meetings, and I don't have any practical work, right? Like real code, like coding, where you can improve, where you can go to the complete end, to complete other dimension, and then they stop coding, and that's like your career is meetings and talking in public. You don't know what you're talking about, but you're talking in public, So, I think it's funny, like these leadership positions, and there are a lot of popular people like influencers. I think their head might be filled with air, but I guess they know what they're talking about, right? But I'm just saying, don't be that person. If you want to be a great developer, by my opinions, right? This is not scientific. This is my opinion, right? If you want to become a great developer, you do have to code till the day you die, because it's ever learning, really. I constantly find new things daily, right? So I don't think that you can be like that guy that just goes into the meetings, but I don't think that's something necessarily to be respected. I think you're essentially a politician, right? And so that's another one of these my strong opinions, right? So the sixth point is you need to notice all problems. It's never good enough. Something even in the infrastructure that you did it like fifth time, something pisses you off. Something is bad. Something still needs adjusting, right? So you need to be constantly in this mindset, like you notice every small problem. So like a small example, say dynamically typed languages. I'm a statically typed language. I like it. Usually when I compile, it works. I allow compiler to catch a lot of mistakes. So from a dynamic language perspective, if someone says like does 5 years of JavaScript, right, and you're doing 5 years of JavaScript, and yet another time again in production you see, oh, this is undefined variable error during runtime, or like this is undefined method error, another dynamically typed error, and you're like, oh, this is fine, just write more tests, it's fine, just write more tests. And if you don't start thinking, why do I need to deal with this? How can I avoid this? And hint, statically typed languages, you don't deal with such issues. You deal with other issues. There are smaller issues, but if you don't think about, I'm seeing this every day, this error the same, like every day, every week, and it's always the same, and I just never thought about how to not have this at all, how to not deal with this. You're probably stuck in one place, right? Frankly, you're stuck in one place and you're not improving. You might be learning different errors, but you're not thinking how to get there, like to the perfection, which you might never reach. But even if you never reach perfection, and most of us will not, right? Say this is like perfection and this is 0. If you do this, that you notice errors, mistakes in your code, and you think, how can I avoid this? You remove one thing, you remove other, you're moving in front. You're moving a little in front, inch by inch, you're moving in front, as opposed to a person, I've seen this error 100 times and I don't do anything about it. It's always like that, it's the status quo. That person is standing in place, and that's a fact, right? So I think about what pisses you off, what could be better, and this is the only way how you can improve, really. So that's my 2 cents. So another thing is one-man army. One-man army, what I mean is there are a lot of like there's this thing called cross-functional team, and you have like an analyst, backender, like a QA tester or whatnot. I believe if you understand everything enough, you can be a one person, right? Because of course productivity between developers values, but if I'm gonna say like I'm a completely business person, I'm not a developer at all. So why do I care if I say a task like do this feature and it involves lots of hats, training lots of hats, doing lots of different things? Why do I care if a single person can do all of these tasks, like analyze data, everything, and code the future and front end and back end and possibly deploy data and everything, why should I care if one person does it or a team does it? Right? In fact, I don't want, ideally, I wouldn't pay a team because one person is cheaper, right? So one person is more efficient, right? So, so I think, right, this is the same principle that you can do anything. If you can do anything and you can go into task anything, you can analyze data, you can like read a book about what components and everything, figure out the nitty-gritty details. You can just offer a lot of content for your clients, or if you're just in work, right? You can just offer tons of content as a one man, like the entire team. And that's just like, yeah, nobody cares if you're alone or you're a team. Well, it's easier to speak with one person, right? But you're a lot more valuable if you're versatile. If you can do anything, you can like from A to Z, then you're just so valuable that you're universal and you can be used everywhere. And guess who's gonna get paid a lot more, right? This guy, not like the 10-year backender guy that only did one thing essentially in life. So yeah. So these are what I think makes a great developer, and I'm sure this might stir up some controversy. So if you have suggestions, leave a comment. What do you think a great developer is? Of course, you can leave a like, you can subscribe, etc. So yeah, so this has been my opinions. This is David from TrivialSolutions.io. I'm signing out. Peace.